Welcome to the archive. My name is Jason, the archivist adrift, and today we got a package from Matt at Pressedcomics. He's a comic book presser and cleaner. Really love his work. I started opening this package that included a book that he wanted me to look at because it had some issues with it that he just didn't feel comfortable tackling. He wanted to see if there was something I could do with it. I think it mostly had to do with rust on the spine. He also included all these really great stickers. Oh, he's got his business card and everything. Sweet. Man, I should get business cards printed up. Wow, that's nice. So yeah, I know that this is like a G.I. Joe. I think G.I. Joe #1. Man, very professional level stuff here. Really nice. It's got his own stamp and everything. That's great. Okay, detached centerfolds, severely rusted bottom staple. And then this one's got a water stain through the top of the book. Okay, all right. Let's see what we're dealing with here. I don't ever work on any books that are this modern, so this is going to be another kind of getting out of my comfort zone kind of thing, you know. It'll be interesting to see what I can do with these. Hopefully I don't mess them up at all. Okay, wow. Wow, okay, yeah, there's water stains all the way throughout. Huh. I'm so not used to seeing pages this white. I mean, even with the water stain. All right, and we have a detached top staple here. Huh. I wonder how these pages are going to work out with an aqueous bath. I would definitely do the cover with gel and gum just to see what I can do with that before I move on to something a little harsher maybe. All right, let's see if I can what would be great is if I can, oh, is this fall out? That's not good. Well, never mind. I was gonna say, let's see if I can fix this up so that I can make it a universal. And then this one has a detached centerfold as well, it looks like. Man, these are great. Wow. I'm gonna have to invest in those. Oh yeah. Man, such a gorgeous book. Yep. That's a shame. There's some color lift here, some sort of smudging. This book also had some color lift. Just up here at the corner. I have to come up with a game plan here. If there's any way at all I can get these back to some sort of universal, yeah, that would be great. So Matt did include a couple of extra books here. These were for the staples in case I couldn't get these staples cleaned up. So yeah, this will be an interesting project. I've never really worked on anything like this before. Okay, after checking the photos, it does look like there were a couple of areas of weakness on this book here and here, where the paper is very thin and almost going all the way through. So I think probably just doing some dry erasing kind of exposed these areas a little bit more, which is regrettable, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. So I'm going to be very careful that I don't cause these holes to get bigger or more holy, I guess. Okay, I just poured the gellum mixture and I got most of it in the mold this time, so that's good. I'm going to let this sit for about 30 minutes and we'll come back to it. And it sets so quick. Come back to it about 40 minutes. Okay, I got the cover pretty well cleaned up, so I'm going ahead and lightening it a little bit. The inside of the cover is still got some water standing on it, and hopefully I can get that cleaned up with this blue light treatment. Okay, so I have some bad news about this G.I. Joe #1 that I'm working on for Matt. I was trying to get a water stain out of it, and I was fairly successful in doing that, but I just kept on pressing it, trying to keep on going further and further as far as like getting out as much of the stain as I possibly could, and it resulted in me losing a dramatic amount of color in the cover, to the point where you can now see the image on the interior of the cover on the outside, and I'm left also with these crease marks that weren't there previously. This mark here was there, but the color's faded, and I just went too far with it. What's unfortunate is that the stain was all along this area, and it was coming out pretty well. It was faint, but it was still there, and as I was using blue light treatment on the book, the colors were still very vivid. They still looked really good. And I was doing about like an hour a blue light treatment at a time, and I just got to a point where I crossed the line and I couldn't bring it back. You know, you can't really come back from this, and I feel terrible about it. This is kind of the reason that, you know, it's hard to want to work on people's books, especially if there's any great value or sentiment attached to it. The only reason why I'm not, you know, I don't feel worse is that, you know, I know that Matt didn't pay a whole lot for this. You know, I still don't, of course, want to ruin any of his books if I, you know, can help it, obviously. But yeah, it sucks. It really sucks because it was actually coming out really well. I still have the second book I haven't touched yet. So I'm glad I, in a sense, started with this book, because I know kind of what I'm getting into with this one. I've already cleaned up some of the other interiors, and they look really good, actually. Which again, there's still, you know, adds to that crushing feeling. The fact that, you know, I'm making good progress on the interiors. I just went too far on the cover. So I'm really sorry about this, Matt. Well, let's see how this wrecked book came out of the press. I did shrink this cover initially, but I was able to revert the shrinkage, which I'm glad I learned that technique while working on this book, and I'll be using that technique on future books if I ever come across that situation. I was very careless in lifting the centerfold while it was wet, and I ripped this the page here, and I've mended it with Tengujo on the back end. The staples are a little loose, I can feel, and this top staple's recessed a little too far. I got these big gouges through the middle of the book where the book wrinkled on me as I was pulling it out of something. And then the centerfold, those staples were all rusted previously, but they are fairly clean now, although this staple is irritatingly about how loose it is. I really shouldn't be bothering with this because I'm probably just going to do more damage to it than not, but I just can't leave well enough alone for some reason. All right, I'm gonna stop messing with that. I'm just gonna pop the staple right through, I'm sure. Okay, unlike that first Joe book that I worked on, I think this will be significantly easier. Really, the main issues here are several of the wraps have rust stains on them, and this wrap needs to be reinforced at the staple holes. So I'm not going to do any cover cleaning. I'm not doing any major wrap cleaning. I'm just trying to take care of the basics here. The bottom staple's pretty rusted. As you can see, it's kind of hooked on the bottom, or actually I think it was on the top. So I had to pull it out all the way through on the other end. Never seen that before. So suffice to say, I'm going to use the staples from one of the spare books. Well, try as I might, I simply could not remove the rust from this bottom staple, so I had to excise it with an X-Acto or with a scalpel. It was just too red, it was too into the paper, and that was the only way I could save it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leaf cast the back of this staple hole so that I can at least get a staple through it. I could probably do this with Tengujo as well, but I think adding some pulp would be better. This is quite a bit lighter than the pulp that I'm using, so I might have to mix this up a little bit with something a little darker. I wanted to be able to get all the rust out of the centerfold without having to cut out any material or anything. But the vapor rust could only go so far with that. I cut out material around the centerfold, leaf cast it, and put new staples in. And if you look pretty closely, which I'm sure CGC will, you can kind of see where a little bit of the remaining rust was touching the paper a little bit, where the leaf cast goes in. the paper up here where this staple was sitting was also blown out, but I was able to patch that up with a little bit of a Tengujo paper behind the staple, so that keeps that in. I think I have a little bit too much overhang on the cover here, so I think I expanded it about I don't know, a centimeter too far or something like that. Which sucks. I should have shrunk the cover a little bit better. There's smudging on the barrel here, and smudging on this Joe's face here, and that's in the ink. But I'm pretty sure that the book came to me with those flaws, so I don't think that's something I did. But I did do put a scratch into the cover right here. There was another scratch down here. I'm not sure if you can make it out, but there was a tiny little scratch down here that I think pre-existed, but I definitely caused this one up here. There's also a ding up here. I'm not sure if I caused that or not, but I tried to take it out as best as I could. Matt is a much better presser than I am, so if he sees any kind of like faults as far as that goes, I'm certain he can pull that out if he really wants to go to work on this book anymore. So I'm done messing with this book, I think. So I'm going to bag this one up. And I just wish I could have done more for Matt. You know, especially when you're working, you know, when I worked with Johnny, you know, I definitely want to put forward a best impression, especially with the guys who kind of do this, you know, full time in a sense. You know, I don't want to be the, I don't want, I mean, I want my books to look good regardless of who gets them, but you know, you kind of want to prove yourself to people who handle these all day, every day, and know every imperfection to look for. I'm not really in love with these bags that I've gotten. All right. It's a little tight. I got these Proline bags and boards, and they're just a little tight feeling. I don't feel that comfortable with them, but again, Matt can always pull that out if he likes to. So these books are ready to get packed up and sent back to Matt. And you know, I wrote him and explained the situation. And he's such a nice guy. He was so understanding, and you know, really was like, "Don't worry about it." Thankfully, the books, he didn't pay a whole lot of money for the books, but still, you know, you want to put your best foot forward regardless. But I just want to thank him for understanding the situation. And you know, I told him if I'd understand if he never wanted to send a book back to me again. But he said no, he's got some ideas for other books that, you know, he might want to send my way. So we'll see. At any rate, please check out Matt's channel. He is one of the best presser and cleaners out there, in my opinion. And so yeah, thanks a lot for watching this video. Hopefully we don't see any more of these mistakes. You know, I was talking to people in the comments my last video, and you know, we were pointing out you don't learn except for you know, making mistakes sometimes. And I'd kind of rather not learn that way if possible. But you know, I did learn some lessons in this project, especially how to expand contracted covers, which was great. So yeah, well, thanks again for watching. See you in the next one. Bye now.